Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Redirection with Terri-Karelle. I love you guys. So far the feedback has been amazing. And I can't tell you how encouraging it is to know that you not only approve, but you love the different kinds of guests that come into the Redirection seat, their nuggets, their gems, their challenges, their stories. And I think it's their transparency based on the feedback that you have been giving me. If you're new to the podcast, this podcast is brought to you by MasterCard in association with Heineken 00. Because even as we are speaking about the redirection and the pivoting and the challenges and overcoming all the hurdles, we want to always remind you that there are priceless moments within them. And we also want to remind you that now you can. Terri-Karelle is the name. If you're already a part of the TK tribe, you already know that. But if you are new to this, you can find me across all social media platforms. You can just type in at Terri-Karelle. If you want to find out more about me, because I don't just do this is one of many things I do, you can visit my website, Terri-Karelle.com. And if you know anyone who's a part of your community who you think, I think so-and-so should be in the redirection seat, send us an email via my website and let us know who you think would be a perfect candidate, and then we will follow up, of course. If you are watching via YouTube and you are loving my set, I just have to say shout out to Spaces Jamaica for curating this space to make not only my guests but my viewers feel comfortable. And if you are also watching via YouTube and you see Toni Aiken somewhere along here, that is our sign language interpreter, and the sign language services is sponsored by Toyota Jamaica, because we do believe that inclusion is absolutely necessary when we're having these kinds of conversations. Now, that's fine. Let's say you're not watching on YouTube because you have things to do. Thank you, of course, for rating the program, for leaving your reviews, because we value your feedback there. So we're looking for engagement. Let us know how you feel about all the episodes. Go ahead, subscribe and like as well. Who is sitting down in my redirection seat today? I am so excited because I consider him to be theater royalty, drama royalty, Jamaican royalty. And we have seen him in the space, in the sphere, as one thing, as comedian, as entertainer. But there are so many layers, so much length and depth and breadth, and we are going to get into all of that. Who am I talking about? The one and only Owen Blakka Ellis will be in the redirection seat. Welcome. I don't think I could be more honored to have you as a guest, the one and only Owen Blakka Ellis. How are you?
I am blessed and highly favored.
Amen.
I'm money magnet and more. Full of love and overflowing. Walking in authority and arm with the word of God.
Listen, I'm going to play that back and it's going to become my ringtone. Thank you so very much for agreeing to be in the redirection seat. I know you are a very busy man. I know that you are you're traveling, you're producing, you're creating, and the fact that you are giving me a little bit of your time for myself, my viewers, my community, I really do appreciate it.
It's a pleasure. I'm giving it to me, really.
Oh,
thank you.
Thank you. No, I have seen you like so many Jamaicans. You are easily one of the most recognizable faces, not just in Jamaica, but in the Caribbean, and I would go as far as saying the diaspora. Mm-hmm. You don't agree?
Well, no, I wouldn't argue that.
You wouldn't argue that? Easily, the Caribbean's finest and best comedians, and certainly not just, for some people, they may know you in the capacity of, maybe producer, right, comedian, poet, author, but there's some of us who also know you as educator.
Yeah.
When you talk to Edna Manley, when you talk to students and graduates out of Edna Manley, very rarely I've never heard your name come. You always come up.
That is God.
The question I have for you is this where you always saw yourself?
No, absolutely not. My dream was to be a lawyer. That was my goal from high school. I thought I had the intellectual acumen and I had the argument that I'm going to be a lawyer. But the results at the end of grade 11 didn't really suggest that. And I was like, what would I do with my life? Mm-hmm. And then my school entered School Drama Festival and I got the Best Actor Award. And I thought, this acting thing might can work. Maybe. Might can work. Because my family is very into entertainment. My mother was a dancer.
Yes.
My father sang with his famous brother, the backup singer.
Of course, the great.
Yeah, when Alton sing, girl, I've got a date, my father say, uh-huh. So I thought, well, it's my gig. But drama school called, and I responded. And interestingly, I did the audition for School of Drama. I wanted to be an actor because I got Best Actor Award. But I was advised by an expert who told me, you can't be an actor.
You are kidding me.
You have 2 speech impediments. He said, I lisp and I stutter, I can't be an actor. And I said, hold on, impediments are things that hold you back. My talking never impede me yet. In fact, my father was a severe stutter. I have 9 kids with 6 different mothers, I never impede him. I thought, impediments? No. I said to the man, what I have, sir, are 2 speech peculiarities. I'm simply different.
So you reframed it.
Totally.
And what did that, or better yet, how did the expert respond to something like that, or your attitude or your approach?
Yeah, he was like, I was dismissed. Well, good for you. I wish you luck. You thought I would make it.
How did that make you feel? And I'm going to ask you in twofold because you said, for example, your dream was to become a lawyer.
Right.
Something that you would have wanted. And I think any of us who going through high school when we had latched on to a dream and we said we're going for it, you would do your academic. At the time, it would have been your CXCs because we're common entrance babies, right?
GCE.
Your GCE. And you get the grade and it isn't what you expected. No. That is a boof. That is a door closed. A big slap in your face. And now this expert, after you've now said, all right, make me pivot, I find out that there's something I'm good at. Let me see what's going on. Let me try to be curious. You have another door that go boof. Yeah. How did that make you feel? And how were you able to say, you know what, you can and not stop me?
So I'm a very defiant person. I'm arrogantly, defiantly gonna challenge authority at that time. And I thought, no, you can't tell me that. Impediment? No, I'm just different. And in fact, I was offered the opportunity to do therapy because the person, when I can call the name, because the man later became a friend, the great Trevor Rohn, who said in a very deep, young man, you ought to rethink your options, an actor. And I said, no, sir, I'm gonna do this still. Yeah. And I persevered. I graduated in 81, and the school offered me a job 82, February 82. I left October, and they offered me a job in February. So I was not working there. And the man said I couldn't do it.
What did that require? What did that require of you for you to be able to come in, understand, learn, preserve, and actually see it through?
Know thyself. Check yourself. See where he might have been right. Yes, I have this peculiarity, but I thought it's just a difference. It's not something that can hold me back. It's now how I use it. So I was very intentional about choosing roles that would require. So when they were having the audition for Romeo and Juliet, I didn't go for Romeo. No. I got to play the watchman. I got to play the funny character where I could then use my difference in a way that would make it special. Yes. It would not hold me back. So I also decided acting is just one area of theater, right? There's theater for development, there is design, there is lighting, there's directing. And because of all my brain work, I became a better director than an actor. So I was an actor who would always ask, why? Why am I gonna walk on the left and not on the right? I'm thinking concepts and ideas, and so therefore I found a space there. Beautiful. And I did well.
So you start working there in 82.
In 82.
And what is that experience like? And what are the lessons that you learned now being on the other side of theater? That
if you're trying to help people up, you're gonna take yourself up. If you really don't think, how can I be the best for me, but how can I be the best for others? You're invariably taking yourself up as well. So you're trying to lift somebody up, and I poured myself into helping students to be to be better at what they do.
Yes.
To say so I became everybody's cheerleader. You're good, you're great, you're gonna make it. I'm like, there are people who would ask me, how you doing? Just so they can get an affirmation. So they were like, I'm great, you're great too. They're like, ooh, yes.
Yeah, I feel it. And
that became my mission to just be everybody's cheerleader.
Have you always been, and let me reframe, as someone who is always expected to be the pillar, someone who is always the source of light, someone who is always the cheerleader, the person who is always the comedian who offers life and love and laughter and just abundance and joy in everything. Is that how you always feel?
No, not at all. There are times when I'm down. Most of the time I'm down, but it's weird. I believe that feel good is not a response, it's a decision. So I decide I'm gonna feel good. Even when everything is saying it's a bad day, I decide I'm gonna feel good. Every day I get up and say, okay, today will be a good day. Not I'm hoping, I'm determined it's gonna be a good day. And that's why I faced everything. So I decide I'm gonna make this. I'm gonna do well at this. I'm gonna find my way around doing it. I'm gonna find a way. If the car broke down, I'm gonna walk. I'm gonna find a taxi and then think about uppy.
It's more like solving the problem rather than dwelling on the problem. Do you think that as a comedian, a lot of the times persons forget that even though you make laughter out of everything, that you have to process as a human? Do you think sometimes they remove the humanity part from the person because we always see you in the light of comedian?
A lot of times, and people forget that sometimes there are things bothering me, and people just frame me as comedian and you're in that cubby hole permanently. So I walk into the doctor's office and somebody says, Blakka, where there? And I'm like, I can be sick too.
I need to get a checkup
At a
too.
funeral, and a man say, why you look so serious? I'm like, somebody died? Because you expect that you're going to be always be laughing and fun. And I try to do that because it's what they expect. And I'm like, I don't like disappointing people.
Correct.
So I really want to keep you up. But there are times when I will laugh, go in the corner and say, oh my God, it's been a bad day. But keep coming. Hello? It's going to be all right. So literally play this role.
Is that tiring?
Yeah, it gets tiresome, but...
How do you decompress? How do you... And I think a lot of people understand that simply because it's a part of people pleasing, but it's a different level when you are known, you are a public figure, you are a loved public figure, and if you know Jamaicans, it's either them love you or they hate you. There is really no gray area. No in between. And when a Jamaican decide that they're going to love you, it becomes even harder to disappoint those kinds of persons when you come into interaction with them. So how do you decompress? How do you find back your center when you know you're having one of those days, but you know that you don't want the impression left with Blakka, the entertainer, comedian, the warm Jamaican son, to come across as, listen, not today. Yeah.
I close my eyes and pray, or just close my eyes and sleep. But I find that when I'm able to close up my sensory triggers, stop listening, stop looking, and just be still. There's a beauty in stillness and silence that people don't really understand. There's a joy in just peace and quiet.
Yes.
And I will drive somewhere far and just be quiet, or just go in my car, park, slide down the door, see somebody can see me, and just
catch
myself. Just turn off everything. So stop hearing, stop seeing, and just continue being.
And that's a part of protecting your energy, no?
Absolutely.
Blakka, how did you get the name?
Primary school. Trenchtown Primary.
Talk.
Grade 3. We're learning about adjectives, comparatives, superlatives. And teacher said the big is the adjective, bigger is the comparative, biggest is the superlative. Of course. Now, class, look around the room for some examples. And one boy said, Miss, we black in Blakka. I embraced it. It was meant to be a put down. But it was blackest, so I was the comparative.
You were just Blakka.
Blackest, so yeah.
And it stuck.
Grade 3, and I embraced it.
Well, I was just about to ask you, because there are many of us, and it's a part of our social and cultural construct as well, where We know a slimmers, a slim, a fatter, a bigger, a tallest. You know, there are these names. And when you speak to persons, a lot of them say that they've embraced it. Some of them didn't like it.
Yeah.
Some still don't like it, but had to accept it because, well, it is what it is. When you realize that it stuck with you, did at first, was it hurtful at first?
No, I made it stuck because I embraced it.
Got you.
I reframed it. And I claimed it. So when I went to high school, I could have left it behind me. Because the primary school, grade 3.
Right.
High school, I said, hello, I'm Blakka. And they're like, oh, you name Blakka? No, but come on, Blakka.
Where did that self-awareness and that love for blackness come from? Especially when in 2023, with all of the products that are for natural hair, and we see this movement where even makeup is for the different shades, and you know, in a lot more spaces and places, even globally, we see people saying black is beautiful.
Yeah.
But back in those days, it would have been very weird to see someone say, yeah, I am Blakka, this is me.
Because black was a curse, you're black like. But again, you see, my life really began in grade 3, Trenchtown Primary School. A woman named Miss Phyllis Welsh was my grade 3 teacher, who adopted me, who made me feel loved. Because I was in a house where I wasn't feel loved. My aunt who raised us was brutal. She was physically abusive and verbally abusive. But at school, in grade 3, when I met Miss Welsh, I felt loved. She just loved on me. And she would, when I would do silly things for the kids, she would laugh too. She actually found me funny, and that was like, wow, like do it again. You know, I remember once she said to me, look me and said, "You have great teeth. You must keep smiling." And I smiled for the whole week.
Affirmation, just a grin. So
you have a good, and that was us. I was 9 years old.
Yeah,
but that stuck with me. I felt she loved me, so I can love me too.
Nice.
So no matter what anybody wants to say or do to me, I have learned to love me.
Nice. And speaking about the aunt that you just happened to mention, what is the relationship like now? Now that you have grown, you've come into yourself as a man, as a citizen, as an educator, as a partner. What is that like? Seeing how she treated you then and who you are today.
I have had to learn to forgive her. And when I buried her, I also buried the hate and the hurt that she had kind of like allowed me to manifest. And because I became angry because I wasn't a bad child, you know. I was the nerd. When every other boy rides skate or play marble, I was stuck in books. I was reading off Nancy Drew, Hardy Boys, Bobsy Twins.
Yes.
I was Archie comic. I was stuck on books. Reading was my thing. Me read everything. Me read all sardine thing. Once something is written, I'm reading it. I'm reading it. So you know, that became so, and I learned late retroactively that auntie, it wasn't that she hated me or the kid. She had a hard life.
Yeah.
And she had
that's all she knew.
That's all she knew. Because I would tell people, I was never hungry. She sell fish, and her best friend sell food. So when she feed you good and beat you hard, you know. So I learned that it wasn't her fault. That was her way of. That was her language. Physical. She cussed, she fight, she beat, but she feed you, and she loved on people. So I learned that I can't blame her. It's not about her.
Yes.
It's never about her. It's just what happened to her.
I'm happy to know that you were one of the people who could have lived through the trauma. There's so many people who are still walking around carrying a lot of trauma from physical abuse and verbal abuse and that mental abuse, being told, yo, come from wrong, me dirty boy, me no want to see you. And a lot of people never self-actualize because they were meant to feel, well, this is it.
It's when people hurt you and you have them up,
and
you carry feelings. If I have you up, that means I have all of your physical and emotional weight up.
Carried.
I carry it. So when I have you up, I'm carrying you. So when I release that and I forgive you, I release the weight of you and me. So if I'm carrying feelings for you, if it's not a good feeling, it's heavy.
Of course.
So I have to put it down.
Of course.
And carry me.
Absolutely. What's the biggest challenge that you've ever faced that really made you contemplate worth? Your competence, your worth, your ability to overcome.
I think so. When I moved from Jamaica to live in Canada, I was challenged by everything, by starting over, by living my life in Jamaica where I had begun to build a name and
a brand.
And give it up to somewhere where I had to keep on asking people, do you know who I am? Because I was just one more black man.
Yeah,
you're
an other.
Immigrant.
You are an other.
And an aging because I went to do my master's degree in my 40s. And all these students thought I was a lecturer because
with this old man, going at the people in class.
So I had to renegotiate how I frame myself because and it took me into depression.
Really?
Yeah.
And it is so hard. It is so hard to, and again, because we naturally separate the person from the craft, the person from the talent. So even hearing a comedian, someone who's of course articulate and eloquent and just always welcoming, say depression is kind of like, walk me through that.
So I like to tell people that Robin Williams committed suicide.
Yes.
And people very often frame suicide as the ultimate act of cowardice.
Yes.
But I will tell you, having had the thoughts myself, that it's not cowardice so much. In some strange, weird way, it can be a kind of a warped courage. Because if I wasn't a coward, I perhaps wouldn't be here today.
Right.
I actually was at a point where I researched the least painful way to die.
Why? What carried you there?
I just felt, at one point, I felt like an imposter. I felt like people rate me, people love me, but I don't rate me. I don't love me because there are times when my standards are so high, I'm like, I don't watch myself in any video that I've done. I don't want to watch it because all I'm doing is finding faults.
Criticizing. Yeah. You are your biggest critic.
I am my biggest critic. Oh, look at me. So I don't watch me because I keep finding faults. So I'm judging me by these big high standards.
Colossal.
And I just can't add up. I'm like, it's not worth it. I was right there.
What brought you back?
Jamaica. I have in my car every time an incomplete pack of Cymbalta. May I give a brand name for now?
Right, but for persons who may not be familiar with it.
A brand of antidepressant that I was diagnosed, that I was prescribed by my doctor. I started taking it, and then I step on the ball all day. If it make me not feel depressed, can I find a non-medicine way to not be depressed? And I thought that's what really to come back home to Jamaica, where people say, Blakka, and start laugh. Blakka! I'm like, there's something about it. I am their medicine.
Yes.
And therefore, if I'm their medicine, being with them is my medicine.
Yeah.
And I just stopped taking it.
Where there's no questioning of who I am.
No.
And trying to go above and beyond to prove to you in this new space that I am worthy. And I don't need to be labeled as black, male, immigrant, aging, any of that, but just being seen.
And to discover that the people that I rate and admire actually, people would see me and, call name, Faye Ellington, Lenny Forbes, Terri-Karelle, and I'm like, if all these people who are bright and, think I'm good, I must be good. Hello. And so there's a way in which people don't understand the extent to which we affirm each other constantly. That smile, that hey, me like you working.
And giving people their flowers, I think, while they're still alive. I think the biggest issue I have is when people die, the funeral pack up.
Yes.
The reception hall pack up. People who you don't even know come in your yard, drink out the things out of your fridge, and eat out things out of your cupboard. And it's like, where were these people?
When you were
Where
alive.
were the words? People who want to do tributes and step up to the mic when you're dead.
Yes.
It's like, but you saw me all the time and you never once gave me an encouraging word. And I think it is giving people their flowers and affirming them while they are alive.
Yes.
A lot of the times. I can save them.
Yeah.
Do you still struggle with it even though you are home now? Do you still struggle with thoughts of not enoughness?
Every now and again, but it doesn't last long. It comes and I'm like, no, stay back.
Yeah.
Not today, Satan.
Yeah.
Not today. I am not gonna allow in even a small space of negativity. I don't abide by it. So if I begin to think, God, you flop, I'm like, okay, no.
We don't have no time for that.
Time for that. No.
Let me ask you this: as a male, you're a black man, a Jamaican black man. You spoke about, depression and having thoughts, the ideation of suicide, thinking it don't make no sense for me to be here. Mental health.
Yeah.
Really what we're talking about is your mental health.
Yes.
Now, understanding that exists for so many people, just generally, but in particular men, in a culture that say, yo, man, a thugs.
Yeah.
Man, a bad man.
Yeah.
Man, for all it. Yeah. And the mere fact you start speaking about therapists, therapy, seeking consultation, getting medication that might tell you in your language, mad, you go mad.
Yeah.
And if you not take this, you go end up how did you manage to get around or to deal with stigma as it deals with, or as it applies to being a Jamaican man seeking help for his mental health? Yeah.
But I've learned from pretty early that I am not the typical anything. I wasn't typical Trenchtown youth because I was reading in books when they were doing other things. I'm a typical man. I've learned to accept that. So the thing that the boxes that man must check off to be a man in Jamaica, man don't cry, chick, me ball easy. Man don't laugh, chick.
Me laugh all the time.
Laughing, right? So all these boxes, I don't fit those boxes. So I never, but also I've learned that one thing that say man is resistance to submission. And I've learned to submit. Sometimes you have to submit to yourself. To just submit, just give in rather than challenge. Men, typically, women share, men declare.
Huh.
I'm a good man.
Yeah.
I'm a govern, and it's a big lie. I have learned to stop saying those lies to myself. To say, hey, the three hardest things for men to say, men in Jamaica particularly, to say, I'm sorry, I love you, I need help.
Yes.
And I've learned to submit to those feelings, to apologize. Come on, take back chat, me take back chat 10 times. I misspoke, I was wrong. And I've learned to submit. My bad. Yeah. To submit to those small things is the beginning of being able to get around the issues that affect men mentally. Yeah. So this is the reason why there are fewer men in church. Because that calls for submission, to give in, to let go.
To release.
Because if you don't release, you're flexing. To just, I think, yeah, I'm good. You know? Not good now, but we're going to be better.
Right.
To just accept. So every day is about accepting, submitting. To decide that I'm going to be good, but to submit that things around me not so good.
And what can I do?
I'm going to be good about it.
I love that.
It's a constant juggle, but we can do it.
I love that. No,
I do it.
No, it's always interesting because whatever we go through impact the people who are closest to us. If we are parents, it's our children. Yeah. If we are married or if we have our spouses, it's our partner. And as we are having our emotional issues, we're dealing with our mental issues, when we are trying to pivot and deal with the things that are coming and the challenges, we know it directly impacts our partners. Now, you said, for example, going to Canada, this new space, this new territory was hard for you. Yeah. But you were not there alone, right? No. You and your wife were there. Yeah. Talk to me about the difference in terms of how she was able to adjust. And as you are spiraling there, how does that impact the relationship now between a husband and his wife?
No, she's a scientist at heart. She's into numbers and matter, and I'm into words. And she's very logical and
calculating.
Practical. Yes, right? But she's also more adventurous than I am. She'll take on challenges. She'll get up, buy a ticket and go somewhere, and then find a hotel. Yes. I'm accustomed to traveling as an artist, so somebody meet you, I take you around. So, she find her way around. So she was better able to jump and keep
assimilate,
moving. Right. I still, when we're in Canada, she drive. I don't know where I'm going. Okay, only tell me. And I trust her like that. But she also gives me space. My wife has never been, sometimes it used to bother me because people don't even know that I have a wife. Because she's not going to come to the comedy show. She's like, you didn't marry a fan. I'm not your fan. I'm not a cheerleader. I am.
But she does
wife.
think you're funny, right?
Yeah.
Okay, just check in.
Sometimes you're like, okay, I get it. And she would say, that's corny. That's not funny. So I keep trying.
Yeah.
But she was very clear about giving me space.
Yes.
To do my work. She never comes in the way, and she's not a complainer. She will say, I don't think that is the best thing to do, but if it makes you feel fulfilled and it's your purpose, then do it. But find a way to do it in a way that you don't give up what you have here. So she's very good about that. And she still is the anchor. So our two children in Canada, because we have one in Jamaica, is that grown man and don't want to fall back her parents. But she and them are all citizens.
Yes.
I'm still just a permanent resident because I never stayed long enough to get citizenship.
Wow.
And I'm
because Jamaica is home for you. Has she ever looked at you and said, you're crazy, Owen, why you don't just do the thing? Or do you think at this point she understands and she's just like, whatever makes you happy?
She stopped saying it, but I know she's still thinking it. She's like, whatever. So I was last in Canada in March.
Yes.
And I came back home and I called her and I reached home and it's hot. She said, it's hot, eh? Well, you chose the hot. You chose the hot. Okay. I hear you.
Yeah.
But she has given me space and I really respect that.
Beautiful.
And
how did she deal with how you are handling it? So before you got to the decision of, you know what, maybe Jamaica is going to be the thing that brings me back. Did she notice the change in you as you were trying to grapple with this new?
Yes, but she supported. She was like, okay, while you're here, make use of what you have here.
Yes.
So it was based on her urging that I decided to do a grad degree in Canada.
Nice.
And the one thing that I'm happy I did, because it couldn't do that in Jamaica. It's more expensive here.
Of course.
In Canada, grad students are guaranteed work by the university. So I was studying and teaching, and that was her push. And I did the degree. The 2-year degree, they did it in 4 years because I was always traveling.
Of course.
But they're very accommodating. I find that in North America, they're better at ensuring that if you want to study, you can study.
Yes.
So because of her, I know, have a master's degree.
Wow.
Because she was like, since you're here,
yes,
it's available, do it.
Maximize.
And I thought, she's my hero. When I go back, I want to be like her.
You want to be like her. Yeah. And since I have you in the Redirection seat, and there's so the demographic of the show in terms of the viewers is just far and wide. We have as young as teenagers, 14, 15, all the way up to 75, 80 years old.
Look at that.
And so I know that there are people who are constantly looking for tips and advice. You are speaking of, having longevity in marriage when marriage itself doesn't seem to be as strong, just globally. The statistics are crazy. Much less a marriage where you have to travel a lot. Give me 3 things that are must-dos, I guess, for you in terms of maintaining the quality, the integrity of the marriage.
Communicate, check in. If it's a simple WhatsApp, good morning, every morning, if it's as simple as that, it means that there's a connection. I will check, okay, today, have I said hello for morning? And to know each other's times and timetable and shit. So I know that, okay, she gets up at this time, she's in the car driving to work at this time, it's a good time to call and talk. So, and then once she's in school, her phone lock off, so you can't call. So to check in, that's very, very important. Communicate and share. And when check in does not just mean saying what's happening with you, but find out how was your day, what's going on with you, what's new with you, what's not so good with you. talk, that is a big one. You have to talk. You have to keep an open channel of communication. And two, be honest. And that's where Jamaican man have to now learn that be honest sometimes mean you mess up and you have to fess up.
I like that. You mess up, you have to fess up.
Don't be strong and wrong. Be willing to say, hey, I messed up. My bad. I'm wrong. I'm sorry. And my being sorry doesn't guarantee your forgiveness.
All right.
But I'm saying I'm sorry.
I'm
starting there. And then hope that you forgive me.
Right. And hopefully that sorry and that apology will also be followed up by action.
By action, yes. Because man have to have heart. HEART. Honesty, empathy, accountability, responsibility, and trust.
I like that.
And trust means truth. Man, two in them head, they have to start acknowledge that you have heart too and activate your heart.
Why do you think they're so worried about vulnerability? Because whenever we hear, we speak about speaking from the heart, men will say things like, well, they don't want to be betrayed. They don't want that vulnerability to be used against them. And there's always this conspiracy that if we give our hearts, or if we speak from our hearts, or if we speak our truth, our partners are not going to, they're going to take it and use it against us. How do we help them to reframe that automatic thought that this is what will happen to me if I speak with my heart?
We have to get the men, the few good men, Lord, did I say that? The few good men to talk more.
Yes.
Because, hear me, clearly, in Jamaica, man follow man.
Facts.
Man follow man. I take it all while with the young boys, ask a young guy, what's your favorite team? And tell me, your brethren, with your best friend. Diego, my best, I'm a best man. Okay, what Diego's top team? Him tell me, Diego love Manchester United. What Diego's brand? Him love Nike. Him say, what's your girlfriend brother size?
Don't know the girlfriend brother size.
No.
Or shoe size.
Yeah, because the man into their male friends. If the men who know right and do right start talking more
and have the influence,
other men going to follow them. It's as simple as that. But the few men who do the right thing, even ashamed of being right, they must don't talk. So men have to talk more. Talk up.
Nice. I know I asked for 3. You said 1, communicate. 2, being able to apologize, accept, to be wholly self accountable.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And then wait, of course, to see how the other person responds. What would your third thing be in terms of preserving a good, healthy relationship? Whether marriage or on your way to marriage or engaged or common law, whatever kind of relationship you may have.
Reframe how you share things that bother you. Reframe away from blame, I put it. Reframe away from blame. Instead of saying, you be kiddie, say, I don't like what you said a while ago. Instead of saying, instead of framing it as what the other person do, say, I feel hurt, or I didn't like, or I'm uncomfortable, or I start with you. Say how you feel. Don't ascribe motive. Don't say, boy, you meanie. Say, I'm hungry and you haven't offered me food. That's that. It's a simple thing, but it makes a big difference. Because the person you're talking to don't feel
as defensive.
Attacked.
Yes.
Right. So let's reframe away from blame. Say, I want, I need, I don't like, I'm hurt by it. But don't say, you did this or you tell me. No, say, I didn't like what you said. It makes a big difference.
It's true, because if you said, for example, I'm uncomfortable, or something that was said made me uncomfortable, the first question I have is, well, what was it? Why?
Right.
I am more interested in finding out why you're in that state, as opposed to if you said, say you did it because they know I'm going to be like, first of all, there's probably a reason why I did. So it doesn't leave us open enough to actually have the conversation where maybe if there was a misinterpretation, misunderstanding, that we can actually reason.
Exactly. So if I frame it like a blame, you cannot defend. But if I say, I am sorry, or I am hurt, or I didn't like, the person might inevitably want to help you.
Correct.
And it's a different
vibe.
Completely.
Of all your your exploits. You know, you've done your acting, your teaching, you're in arts management, you're in drama, you are author, you are poet. And I just find out that you have an audiobook. I know, listen, he's not going to tell you, so let me just take the opportunity right now to let you know that Owen Blakka Ellis has a beautiful, beautiful book. It's a great work of art. Why don't we hear you talking more about what you do? Is that a part of imposter syndrome, or?
Perhaps. I don't like to promote me, but you can go and get the book. It's called Rhythm and Riddles by Blue Banyan Books, and it's awesome, if I say so myself.
I'm happy to hear you say that.
Because the voices that bring it to life
Yes.
are just absolutely amazing. And I'm blessed by that.
Beautiful. Of all of the moments that you've had, you are award-winning. What is probably one of the most priceless moments you have experienced in your life that makes you always smile and it brings nothing but warmth to you? One priceless moment, if you can name one.
It wouldn't be in my public sphere, no?
And that's fine.
It is just moments spent with my grandchildren.
Lovely.
They make me feel like I am the best thing in the world. I am a hero. I love that. It's just,
Yes.
I cannot find words to frame it. Grandkids. I have one 2-year-old.
Yeah.
I have one on the way. I have one with almost 18.
Wow.
But when they say pops or grandpa,
You melt.
I'm in heaven. I'm in seventh heaven. And that moment with grandkids are just what makes me feel re-energized, feel special, feel loved.
That's so beautiful. For anyone who might be watching, as we're winding down, for anyone who might be watching, for those watching on YouTube, or for those who are listening, because persons might have us in their car on their preferred podcast platform, who might be going through it in terms of the thoughts, the ideas, the stress, the depression. What advice do you have for them?
I want to advise men particularly to go to share, to open up, to find somebody, talk to somebody. If you can't talk to somebody or talk to anybody, then journal, write down your thoughts, but release things, because things that we withhold hold us.
Yeah.
You know, and just talk to somebody, talk to yourself on your phone, and hope that somebody will hear it. But release, let go. Don't hold on so much. You can't shake hands with a clenched fist.
Huh.
So
Absolutely.
open your hand. If we at least open our hand, we might begin to move towards opening our hearts, and opening our minds, and understand that people are different, and we all can be the same. And difference makes us beautiful, I think. So.
What is your definition of redirection as it has applied to your life? Maybe you just looking back on how many times and the moments that you've had to redirect. What is the definition for you and to you?
Redirection can be resistance if it is used well. So we love to play with the term pivot, right? Which can just mean moving around and not moving forward, and being resilient. And it's sometimes overemphasized, resilience. Because if you hit me and I come back for more, that's resilience. But if you hit me and I say, stop hitting me, and then that's resistance. We have to sometimes go beyond pivoting and just press. Because everything is saying, don't come no further. And you have to press past that. So sometimes pivot, yes, but sometimes don't pivot. Push, press, persevere, and move forward. Climb over the hurdles. So sometimes balance how we play with resilience. Sometimes don't be resilient. Be resistant.
Huh. Never thought of that. That's a beautiful reframe, especially coming out of the pandemic, where we did hear a lot of conversations, even conferences having the theme pivoting and resilience.
Yes.
And what you're saying is that's fine and that is necessary, I'm sure.
At times, yes.
But we also need resistance.
If COVID gave us walls, and your fourth wall, and you pivot to the next wall, you pivot, and you keep pivoting, and they're all walls. What are you going to do? You must start push down one.
Correct.
And press forward. So pivot until A. No more pivoting, let's press.
Yes.
Let's push. Let's persevere. Because purpose is calling.
What's next for you? Do you even know?
Hey, a number of things I'm I'm into a new TV sitcom. I'm being asked to be back on stage in theater.
Why not?
And I'm like, why not?
Why not?
So I'm gonna be doing some stuff.
You are theater royalty, and I know I say this on behalf of everyone. Thank you for giving us even more length and depth and breadth of you. I think, like myself, so many of us have seen you on TVs or we've read about you, and it's always been in one capacity or a capacity that is very tied to entertainment. But to understand who you are as a person, to understand your humanity, I think to understand the challenges that have made you who you are, and even something like a speech impediment that you were told you have, for you to look at that and say, it's a peculiarity. And I'm actually going to make a career out of this.
Absolutely.
Thank you for your honesty.
Bless you.
Thank you for your transparency, and thank you for being one of, I think, the beacons when we think of true Jamaican spirit. I think of Owen, Blakka, Ellis, and I thank you for honoring me by being in the Redirection seat.
It's my pleasure. And you bless me. You bless Jamaica. You bless the world.
Thank you.
By being this wonderful intersection of brains and beauty.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's the first guest that come in here that I'm blushing, that I didn't even know how I'm going to close the show. Listen, I just want to, again, thank you for sticking and staying. Thank you for listening to this episode, for watching this episode. Certainly, I got a lot of nuggets, a lot of gems. And if there's anything about it that resonated with us, with you, let us know. Drop it in the comments. Do the rates, do the reviews. And as usual, if there's anyone who who might benefit from this kind of content or this kind of conversation, don't keep up the good things to yourself. Please go ahead and share it. Okay, sharing is caring. And we will see you next Sunday. Bye. Thanks to our partners, MasterCard, Heineken 00, Toyota Jamaica, Spaces, Commercial Concepts, Reshe, Beauty Brands by MDS, and Go Shore Courier.